So, how do you manifest everything that you want? And both things are in quotation marks for a reason, because right now you're already existing, you're already manifesting the life that you're living right now. So the good thing is you know exactly how to manifest, but the problem is, and you probably clicked on this video, is because you want a different reality to what you're living right now. But how can you have what you already want? How can you have what you want? Right? It doesn't make sense. You can't have and want something at the exact same time, and that is the number one problem that you're facing right now, is that you want something which is intentionally putting out to the universe that you do not have it, and that is reflecting back to you as a mirror, because the world is a reflection, it is a mirror, so what you're putting out is being reflected right back to you. So every time that you tell yourself that you want something, you're telling the universe that you therefore do not have it, so it is reflecting back to you. But that is exactly what we're going to fix in this video, because we already know how to manifest, right? Every emotion that you have right now, every thought, every being, everything that you do right now, you are manifesting. When you get up to go to the toilet, it is first a thought form in your mind to go to the toilet, right? And that's what we're going to get into, is the three planes of existence. Because reality, you can only see 0.0035% of reality, of the physical realm. You can only see that much, right? And when I say that, it could be mind, body, spirit, doesn't really matter. Mental, spiritual, physical, whatever you want to deem it to. And we're going to talk about exactly how to manifest everything that you want. And we're going to get into the three planes of existence. Now, if you don't know me, I'm Tom McGregor, from New Zealand originally. I used to do drugs, party all the time. And a lot of people will tell you that that was bad. And of course, that kept me in a low vibration, that kept me in a low frequency. But I'm blessed and I'm grateful for it. One thing that you guys need to understand is that every single solitary thing that you've quote unquote been through so far, or put yourself through in your life, is a blessing, because it's led you to where you are now, to click on this video, to hopefully, and which you will, if you definitely watch this video and you apply what I'm telling you, be able to manifest your reality. So basically, we have the mental. I'll explain what all of these are in just a second. Spiritual. Should have gone the other way, but that's right. And then we have the physical. All are of equal importance, but this always comes last. But this is what majority of people focus on. They try to change their reality, what they're living, with more work. That is why more people work hard, quote unquote, they work harder, but they end up in the exact same result, because the reality is an effect, right? But your mental, that is the cause of this, right? So equals cause, spell it. So your mental game is the physical reality that you see out there, right? Because like I said earlier, the world is a mirror. It reflects back to you what you put out to it. So if you're stressed, if you're anxious, if you're constantly worried, if you're constantly in the survival paradigm, that will reflect back to you. But the good thing about the spiritual plane is that because as humans, we're finite, right? But God, and by the way, whenever I say God, I don't specify with a specific God. You specify whichever one brings you the most peace, whichever one you believe to be true about the world. I'm not here to put a specific God onto you. But the one thing that we do know is that God is infinite. But the only way that you tap into God is through the mental plane. But if we're constantly focused on the physical plane, if we're constantly trying to change an effect with an effect, it doesn't make fucking sense. You can't constantly do more work. You can't constantly work harder. We have to look inward, right? And when you look inward on the mental plane and you connect on the spiritual plane with God, that's why these are actually interchangeable, right? If I had to order them, it would be mental, spiritual, then physical. But these two, they are interchangeable because God is infinite, God is within you. And because God is within you, you already have every single solitary thing that you want. Right? Everything that you desire mentally. You already have everything that you want. But the reason that you can't access it and the reason that you're not living it on the physical realm is because you don't already think that you have it. You're acting as if you want it, which pushes it even further away. You're telling the infinite, you're telling God, you're telling the universe that you no longer have it. You do not have it on the physical realm. That is why it is not yet manifested. So, how do we tap into the God self? How do we tap into the mental and the spiritual plane? And it's very, very simple. There's a lot of ways that you can do it. You can do it through meditation, right? That is the number one way that I do it. You tap in through silence, right? But there is a couple other things that you must know first. All you need to know right now is that God is infinite and God is within you, and you have to tap in to your God self, and you have to understand that you already have every single solitary thing that you want, right? And the reason that I bring this up is because there is this theory, and it is called parallel universe theory. Basically, what it is in its truest, most simple form, I'm not going to explain it in depth, but in its truest, simple form, there is a theory. Damn, we need to wipe more. There is a theory. Whoa. There we go. And I believe it to be true. Obviously, you have no other choice, right? Because God's infinite. That means there are infinite universes. Which means infinite versions of you. And the reason that you desire things, the reason that you want something is because you already have it in this alternate reality, this alternate parallel universe that already exists, right? And the reason that I bring this up is because you can tap into this alternate version of yourself, and you do this through meditation. And in the esoteric, I believe, where you tap into this other version of yourself, and you do it through the subconscious mind. Now, I'm sure you've heard this word thrown around before, and there's many ways that you can access it. There are so many different times in the day that you are the most susceptible to the subconscious mind. Now, because we now know that there's infinite universes, because God is infinite, there's infinite versions of you, and we can tap into this version of you through the subconscious mind. This is how we start to rechannel our beliefs and our experiences about the world, because that is what controls you right now. The old ego that you have right now, just keep that there for just a wee while, but the old version of you right now wants to keep you exactly where you are. Now, the old version of you, or the old frequency, version, whatever you want to call it, it wants to stay alive. Why? Because it's got the ego. Basically, you have the old frequency, the old version of you, which is based on your beliefs, plus your experiences. So it's not entirely your fault. You're where you are and you believe the world to be true the way it is. But there are no full truths, there are only half truths, because the subconscious mind only accepts what it is to be true about the world. So you see the world for what it is. You don't see the world for what it is, you see it for who you are. And this is based on these two things and these two things alone. That is it. Everything that you believe to be true through your experiences that you've been through, or through the quote-unquote hive mind. Right? The hive mind is basically someone that you trust or a group of people. They tell you something and then you just believe it, right? You don't have to experience it yourself. But then this one is just experiences that you've been through, right? So let's say as a kid, you played sport. You got told as a kid you were really, really good at sport growing up, and take this and apply this to whatever you want in your life. But basically an experience you went through, yourself. I'll take a very simple example. Let's say you're a fat person, and then they say, oh, I tried working out for 2 weeks and it didn't work, right? Then they just think no diet plan, no workout plan works for them either, right? It's just their experience based on something that they went through, and you can take this and extrapolate that to whatever you believe to be true about the world. But the problem is this old frequency, this old version of you, right? It wants to keep you exactly where you are no matter what it is in your life that you're going through. You might hate your life. You might not like your life, right? And the reason for it, even though you want to change, even though you want to get better, even though you want to improve the situation that you're in, it could be your finances, it could be women, it could be your physique, it could be literally anything. But the problem is the old frequency, because it's so used to being exactly who it is through your beliefs and experiences, it wants to keep you exactly where you are in your life. Why? Because in its truest form, it is an entity. It is an energy force. It is a frequency that exists in the universe, right? And it wants to stay existing. And when you go to try change, you have to become a new frequency. You have to become a new energy source, right? But the old frequency, it wants to keep you exactly where you are because it's quote unquote comfortable, right? The universe doesn't like change. It likes, what's the word? Least resistance, right? It likes the fact of least resistance. It likes to just maintain the resistance, the frequency that it's already in. And when you go try change, you're going against your experiences, your beliefs, and your frequency, right? And when you go try change, that's why it feels so difficult, even if you want to change and even if change is good. But it only feels difficult because you perceive it to be difficult, because everything is a perception, right? You get to perceive the world for how you want to perceive it. It is entirely up to you. It is entirely your choice. It is just as easy to go into a new frequency as it is to maintain the frequency that it is, that you're already in. But why do we find it difficult? Why do we find it hard? It is genuinely just due to these, right? Because you have to fight the internal battle. You have to fight the internal battle against your beliefs and your experiences, everything that you've been through, and the energy source that already exists, right? You're going against your own ego. You're going against your own self. You're going against who you once were, which was this old frequency, to try and become someone new. But it's all just a perception. If you believe it to be hard to change, it will be hard. But if you decide mentally right now, in this very moment, that it is easy, then it will be easy. So we know we have the old frequency. And we know we want to become someone new. I just want you to write down in the comments right now, or just to yourself, it doesn't really matter, who you truly believe yourself to be at the core of your being. Don't bullshit yourself. Don't do anything except for tell yourself the absolute, complete and utter truth. Who do you believe yourself to be right now? Are you stressed? Are you anxious? Are you frustrated? How are you living your life right now? Right? Because if you don't admit to yourself who you believe yourself to be, then you can't change. You can't get to someone new through your subconscious mind if you do not know your start point. And it's going to be harsh, but you need to be truthful with yourself. You need to be honest with who you are right now as a person. Who do you truly believe yourself to be? Not who you think. At the core of your absolute being, when you look at yourself in the mirror, when you lie in bed at night, who do you truly believe yourself to be? Because that is exactly what the world is reflecting back to you, right? Every time that you look out to the world, who you truly believe yourself to be is exactly what the world is going to reflect back to you as. But if you truly understand this question, who you believe yourself to be, you have a starting point. You know exactly where you are. And a lot of people don't even know that, right? Because now we can access who you want to become. And that's the question. It's not about what you need to do. It's not about how to do something. It's about who. Right? Because the subconscious mind, it needs to know very, very specific details. Right? It needs to know it down to an absolute T. Everything that you do right now, it knows. It's now formed as auto-suggestion. It's now formed as a habit. And auto-suggestion is basically just a habit for easy explanation's sake. Right? So you need to know who you want to become. That is it. That is the secret. You need to believe who you are right now. You need to understand who you are at the core of your absolute being right now. To have a starting point to become the person that you want to become. And we access this through the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind only believes your reality is basically what your subconscious mind, it is what your subconscious mind believes to be true about the world. And the only time that you're ever wrong about the world is when your actions, when your subconscious mind, when your beliefs, when your emotional conviction, when your attention span is not aligned with the person who you want to become. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how you do it. If you do not believe yourself to be the person who identifies with that, you will never, ever, ever become it. Right? And the way that we access this, like I said earlier, is through I believe it's the esoteric. Right? You can, through your subconscious mind, or through your mind, through the mental plane, plus spiritual, aka God, infinite. You can access that desired reality that you already have, and you can do that through the mental plane, and you can do that through the spiritual plane. But the reason that they want to keep you exactly where you are, that's why there's so many distractions in the world, right? Like scrolling on your phones, things like that, is because people cannot sit in silence. People cannot sit there and meditate for 10, 20 minutes. If you can just do that alone, you will start to unlock and kill the old version of you, right? Because the old frequency, it loves attention, right? Anytime that you go to sit still, you go to sit down, you go to do like literally nothing, I guarantee you want to pick up your phone, you want to scroll on, you want to go on you might even want to read, right? It might even be something like that simple. The old frequency is going to come at you in all shapes and different sizes, but you must access, through your subconscious mind, you can access your desired reality, but you need to decide it on exactly the pinpoint, exactly the number, exactly the physique, exactly the woman that you want, right? Your subconscious mind needs to know exactly what you want, but you can only desire something which you can truly believe that you can actually have. The reason that you have the desire, the reason that you have the dream, the reason that you have the goal is because it is already yours in another realm, in another physical world, right? In a parallel universe, it is already yours. The only thing stopping you is you. That's what they mean when it's you versus you, right? It is that simple. So through the subconscious mind, you can access the person that you want to become. And when this happens, God, aka the spiritual plane, will send you mental signals, right? Which will come as hunches, downloads. This is something that my mentor himself, he taught me, downloads. Intuition. Which brings me to my last point. The problem is, the reason you probably get these ideas all of the time, right? You probably get, hunches, ideas, intuitions. For example, you know when you're daydreaming, or you're at work, you're not really thinking, those random ideas that come out of nowhere, or those random dreams that you have, those random things that you get, these are all hunches, these are all ideas, these are all intuitions from God, because they align with your desired reality. But the problem really is that we don't have self-trust. Now, you could call this discipline, but you already have discipline, right? You have to be just as disciplined to live in the dream, the outcome that you want, the reality that you want, to live in that frequency. You already have the exact same amount of discipline that you would need to live in the reality that you want. But you're lacking self-trust. Right? It's something that I lacked for a long time. That's why I had 400 days of literally waking up at the same time every single solitary day, going to the gym, getting in the best shape of my life, things like that. The reason, after drinking, after drugs, after partying, all that, the reason was I had no self-trust. And we don't have self-trust based on the reality that we want, and that's exactly where the old frequency comes back. Why? Because if you don't trust yourself in alignment with the reality that you want to be living, how do you ever expect the universe to give it to you? How do you expect the universe to give you everything that you want if you don't trust yourself to have it, to be it? If you don't identify with the person that already has it, how do you expect the universe to give it to you? You don't. You can't. You can't expect the universe to give you something that you do not already have, that you do not already trust yourself to own, to be, to identify with. It doesn't make sense. So you need self-trust, but you need self-trust in alignment with the reality that you want to live, right? You need to take the actions from the hunches, the ideas that God, and the intuitions that God is giving you, right? You need to align yourself with these. It might not make sense, and that's the point. It's not meant to make sense, right? Because we are finite, but God is not finite. God is infinite. So we aren't meant to make sense of this stuff because God is giving it to you as the infinite. And God is giving it to you, which you already have within you, because God is within you, because God is infinite. And like I said earlier, it doesn't matter what God you believe to be true. Whatever gives you the most eternal peace, belief in identifying with the person that you want to become. But you need self-trust in alignment with the hunches, ideas, and intuitions that God, the infinite, gives you. Because He will give you signs. He will give you ideas. He will give you intuitions. It's your sixth sense that no one knows how to tap into. And you do this through the subconscious mind. Well, I don't know why I didn't E. But you do this through silence, meditation, basically the main two things, right? The frequency loves attention. The old frequency loves attention. And this is the best way that you can get rid of the old frequency. And another one is fasting, right? Because desire is basically getting rid of any of the shit that you know that you shouldn't be doing. Drinking, drugs, partying, eating, overeating, getting rid of that, because the old frequency loves. The old frequency loves attention. It loves to keep you exactly where you are. It loves these small desires that you have right now that are preventing you from getting your big actual desire, your true desire, right? So you need to use your ego as a vehicle to your new reality. But the last thing that I want to touch on, make sure you know you need self-trust. So make a list of things that you aren't doing that you know you need to be doing. For me, it was making YouTube videos like this every single day for you guys to come back so you can get in your dream reality. I genuinely am giving you everything you need to know. I don't expect anyone to need to pay for anything. Right, my whole idea is to give you all the value for free. And if you need one-on-one help to design and actually create the reality that you want to be living in, the physique, the money, whatever it is that you want, then we can get on a call. And then sometimes people just need to pay to literally have the idea in their head that, holy shit, this is real. But that's literally it. I would rather you just go and do everything that I'm doing in this video and you get the result for free, right? That is my dream outcome. But if you do need help, there's a link in the description. We'll jump on a one-on-one call to get you in the best shape physically and mentally that we possibly can and connect you spiritually. But to finish off, I will say, if you do not trust God, if you do not trust yourself, aka because God is within you, then you're going to have some serious problems. Because how stupid of it, how stupid of you is it to not trust God? How stupid. He is literally infinite. Anytime that you do not trust God, anytime that you do not trust yourself, you're telling yourself that you do not trust God, aka you do not trust the infinite, who literally has infinite possibilities, there are infinite parallel universes of you with your desired reality. But how stupid is it to not trust God, to not trust yourself, because God, like I said, is within you. But the last thing that you honestly, and the only thing that you need to know, is to identify yourself with your reality. That is it. Because in the Bible, it constantly says, be, do, have. You have to be. You have to be the identity first, right? You have to know internally that it is done, that it is complete, that whatever it is that you want, that all that's left to do is time needs to catch up, right? You have to know subconsciously in your mind that it's already done. It's the exact same thing as if you go to the supermarket, right? You write out a grocery list, you know exactly what you want, you go do it, and it's done mentally before you even go to the supermarket. Right, it's the exact same thing when you get up and you go to work. You're already disciplined to doing that. It is no different to your desired reality. You just have to know, like you go to work in the morning, right? You just have to know that it is already done. That is the whole point. You have to get rid of the idea that you want something, you need something, you have to already know that it's done. Because it is. Because you are infinite. Because God is already within you. Right? You are infinite. You have everything that you want. You have everything that you need because you have God and God is infinite. Right? So you must identify and put absolute no importance on it. Which I get is hard. Or if you perceive it to be hard, it will be hard. But I understand as a human monkey brain, we find things hard to believe. It can be this simple. But it really is. Right? You have to identify with the dream outcome, which is already exists because God's infinite and He's already made it for you. You can access it through the subconscious mind, right? Through meditation, through silence, or the last 30 minutes or the first 30 minutes of every single morning. That's when you're in theta brainwave state, where your brain's the most susceptible. That's why, like as a kid, from 0 to 7, that's where most of your beliefs and experiences come from, right? Because you're most susceptible, because you're basically in theta brainwave state from ages 0 to 7. That's why beliefs and experiences that you've been through are so dictated by your parents, by your teachers, by your schooling, things like that. 90% of the shit that you've been through so far in your life, you're still making decisions based on when you were ages 0 to 7 years old. Why? Because that's when our brain's most susceptible. That is when we get channeled the most, because we're in theta brainwave state, right? So our parents, that's why. It's your experiences and beliefs. They are dictated mainly from when you were 0 to 7 years old. That's why this ego that we try beat, or the old frequency, is so hard to beat, because no matter if you're 20, 30, 40, you've got years and years and years of experience from when you were 0 to 7. 90% of what you went through, of what you make decisions based on now, is still based on when you were 0 to 7, based on your experiences, plus beliefs. So the old frequency is tied to that. And when you truly come to understand that, you can start to let go. And you can start to identify with who you want to become. Through the subconscious mind, you have to decide that it's already done. Mentally and spiritually, the only thing holding you back is the old frequency, and it'll come at you at different angles. But the one thing that I would tell you is that you are infinite. You have God. The desired reality that you want, it exists because it's already there in a parallel universe. And every time that you let the old frequency beat you, you're telling yourself that you do not trust God. And you must trust yourself in alignment with the identity, with the intuition, with the hunches, with the ideas that God gives you. They might not make fucking sense. That's the point. They're not meant to make sense because we're finite. So you need to identify. You don't need to do anything, but you, quote unquote, need to identify with the reality that you want, get it down to its absolute number, get it down to its absolute physique, get it down and truly understand where you are going, and then accomplish it as done. Get out of your own way. Step out of your own way. Let God give you the actions. Let God give you the intuition. Let God give you the downloads. And act on them. Then you can take the physical action. The reason that you don't have what you quote unquote want is because you want it. Every time that you tell yourself that you want something, you're telling the universe that you do not have it. You're putting energy out into the universe that you do not have it. Right? But you have everything that you need. You have everything that you want because you have God. And God is infinite. The only thing stopping you is the old frequency. But if you think the old frequency is more powerful than the infinite intelligence, than the infinite God within you, you're nuts. But yeah, that's really it. Access through the subconscious mind, 20, 30 minutes a day, focusing on who you want to become. Like actually feel the feeling, feel the emotion, right? That is one thing I will finish on, is that emotion, actually. One thing I will finish on. You know what? Let's do a different color. Let's do black. Emotion equals energy in motion. Emotion also equals language of God. So the energy that you have right now, the frequency that you're sitting at, is energy in motion. Right? It is a vibration, it is a frequency. When you truly come to understand that, it is just as easy to access the higher levels of consciousness. Right? I'll put it up here, The Level of Consciousness by Dr. David Hawkins, I think it is. You can access this through the language of God, through the subconscious mind. Because all it is a frequency. All it is a vibration. All it is the language of God. And you can access literally any single emotion as a vibrational frequency. So you must be in the frequency, aka in the emotional, which is how you tap into the frequency of the desired reality through the subconscious mind. And that is exactly how you tap into the frequency of your desired reality. Right? Because you don't want the money, you don't want the thing, you don't want it because of the thing itself, you want it because of the emotion. That's it. That's it. Right? You might want peace, you might want freedom, you might want status. I don't really know exactly what you want, but most people do. And you do. You want it for that reason. And all that is a frequency. That's all it is. And you can access the same exact frequency that you're frequencying at right now. You are disciplined to that frequency. That's it. You're already disciplined. You already have the thing. You're already disciplined to the energy that you're putting out, to the emotion that you hold. You're already disciplined to that. It's the exact same thing. You can be disciplined. You can build trust through God, through your vibration, to the frequency of your desired reality, because all it is energy in motion. And again, like I said, you can access it through the subconscious mind, through silence. But the thing is, pick your desired reality, whether that be the money, whether that be the income, whether that be the job, whether that be your physique, whatever it is that you want, pick it, but figure out what the emotion is that you want to feel. And then for literally 20, 30 minutes a day, access your subconscious mind through silence, through meditation, right? Silence will get rid of the old frequency. It will get rid of the old fucking frequency, right? Because it loves attention. Then meditation, think about your dream outcome. Think about your desired reality. But think about the feeling that it will give you. Think about the peace, the fulfillment, the joy, the happiness, the excitement. And the reason that I bring this up and the reason that I finish on this is because every time that you tell yourself that you do not have it by saying, I want this, I want that, you're telling yourself, you're telling your subconscious mind that you do not already have it. But you must have before it will become on the physical realm. What I mean by this is that when you tap into it subconsciously, when you feel the joy, when you feel the excitement, the reason that you do not have it right now is because you have not normalized what you want. You have not normalized what you want. Because right now you're living a life and it is normal to you, but it once was not. So that can tell you that you've already created a reality. It might not be your dream reality, but that should tell you that you've already manifested the life that you're living right now. You manifest every single solitary second of the day. And until you can normalize and truly understand that you already have what you want through God, through the infinite, then you will never get it. Every time that you tell yourself that you want something, you push it away. But you normalize it through feeling the emotion, the excitement, the joy, the happiness, the fulfillment. You feel that emotion for 20, 30 minutes a day through the subconscious mind. I promise you that way, the reality will start reflecting back at you. You'll start noticing more excitement, more happiness, more joy, more things in your life. And I promise you, if you smile for long enough mentally, if you know it's done mentally, through God, through the infinite, through accessing it through your subconscious mind, reality will eventually smile back at you. But you have to understand that you can't want something and have it at the exact same time. It does not work like that. God is infinite. You are not. Access your God self through the subconscious mind. Access your desired reality through your subconscious mind. 20, 30 minutes a day. Silence, 20, 30 minutes. Feel the excitement, feel the joy, feel what it would give you, the peace, the emotion that it will give you. That is literally all you need. Stop saying you want something. Stop saying you need something. Put no importance on it. You don't put any importance on the life you're living right now. You've already normalized it. Normalized it. That's all you need to do. You normalize your desired reality in your head, whether that be the income, the physique, the woman, the job. You just have to normalize it and make that your vibrational frequency through your energy and motion, because that is the language of God, who is infinite. Yeah? Let me know what you thought down in the comments.